Okay, hi there, runners. So I thought I'd do a bit of a follow-up from our first class. So our first class was around the spine, moving the spine, rounding the spine, flexing the spine, extending through the spine, a little bit of side bends, a little bit of twisting or rotation of the spine. And we also did these more sort of snake-like movements. We did a little bit with the shoulders as well. So we were focusing very much on spinal health and spinal flexibility. Um, and part of that is kind of really crucial for the running form in terms of working with the spine, but also the relationship between 3 or 4 points in the body. So a lot of the work around the spine, if you like, in running is about being able to avoid a drop or a heaviness in the pelvis or a heaviness in the body. So lifting up and through the spine. There's the issue about where we put our pelvis. There's an issue about where we put our head. And there's an issue about what we do with our shoulders. So just in brief, what we are looking for is we're looking through length through the spine and a relationship between the pelvis, the rib cage, or you might say the heart center, yeah, and the head, the skull. And there's an alignment between each of those areas. So head above heart, heart above pelvis. And it can seem like it's obvious, we're bound to be having that relationship, but often that goes, and it often goes with running, either running style, running form, or just because we're tired, or just because we have a habit. So the tendency for me, or one of the tendencies, I've done all these things, by the way, is for me to drop my head and my neck, bring my head forward and drop my neck. And obviously we need to be able to run safely. So there is this idea of being able to ensure that we have a good view in front of us, but we don't really need to bend the head very often. We can keep the head still above the heart space and cast our gaze down. So how do we get the head to not come forward? Well, before we start, we can try and get things in place so that we start to get familiar with what it feels like to have each of those three areas in relationship to each other, so that when we run, we become more familiar with what it feels like to be aligned, to have good running form. So we can kind of work on just doing a few little movements with the skull, so top of the spine, and just little nods, if you like, to just try and really feel that point. So we want a length through the neck. We want either the chin to be parallel to the floor or even slightly tucked in, or it might feel slightly tucked in. And we want to have this imaginary light or imaginary string or whatever you want to call it coming out of the crown of your head, that soft area when you're a baby, to extend up towards the sky. So that's the kind of head bit, which is many people's issues. Yeah. Then what links to that or might cause that is the forward issue with the shoulders. So the shoulders drop, the upper spine rounds. So all that leads to us falling forward rather than having this sense of lightness, uplift as we run. If we're feeling heavy, if we're feeling we're pulling ourselves forward, that's a lot of weight to carry. Yeah, we need to create some more lightness. In terms of the chest, we talked a little bit about this, or did a little bit with the practice. The area for me to support this area of avoiding the shoulders to come forward, or giving me a little reminder, is this bit around the sternum, to open up in the sternum here. I'm closed, I'm more open. So that's another reminder for me. Shoulders could be up. We could talk about shoulders another time, but shoulders might be up towards the ears. So it's reminding ourselves to release and relax the shoulders. Pelvis. So pelvis can create all sorts of problems when that's in the wrong place. So for your body, yeah. So I haven't got much of an arch in my lower back. Some of you will have much more of an arch, and that will be your natural position for your spine. But other people might be sticking the bum out, yeah, to over arch this lower back, and that creates tension in the lower back. So for those people, there might need to be a little bit to get into neutral. It'll feel like a lengthening through the back, the lower back, and the bum going slightly down. Probably not under, but it might feel to you like it's going under. The other thing, which is more my thing, is to tuck the tail under. So I'm fine in the lower back because I'm lengthening through the lower back, but I'm therefore shortening everything around the belly. So that doesn't give me much support for the tone and the strength around all sort of areas around here, yeah, and even down through the legs and up through the pelvis and through the glutes. So I'm not going to talk a lot. I'm not going to go into the glutes now. I was just going to concentrate on issues to do with the spine. So reminder, we're starting with the pelvis. We're trying to get that into a neutral position. You can even play around with this rocking kind of issue. Try and keep the sternum, sense of length through the sternum. That doesn't mean sticking the ribs out. It means keeping the ribs back, but lengthening through here, resting the shoulders down. From here, we've got the heart or rib cage over the pelvis. From here, we go to head, and the head just needs to be in line, not falling forward, not rounding the upper back. All those are kind of obvious, but really difficult to become a habit when we run. So running tall is my most simple way of reminding myself, how do I run tall? How do I run with that sense of lightness through the spine, heading towards the sky? And then there are loads of other things, but for now, I'll try not to overcomplicate your mind in this whole process. So working with the spine, really helpful. Running form, finding ways to support yourself in the relationship between these three areas, checking it out, what your own experience is, being really mindful of your body before you run, during your run, and just occasionally just doing those little things that might make a small difference to getting yourself back to a place where your running form might be even better. All right. Thanks for listening, and see you for week 2, hopefully. Bye for now.